that achievement?
Well, yeah, it's a lot. It is, I guess, when you think of it like that, and you add in super games as well. You know, it's a fair bit of rugby. But it's, I don't know. I haven't got too carried away thinking about it. Like, it's pretty cool achievement, I guess, to I guess equal Sir Colin. But if you get sort of worried about that, you forget about what you got to do each time you go on the field. And I've always been big on making sure that each time you get out there you go and perform and enjoy doing that. And I still enjoy it as much as I did when I started. And I think that's why you keep going for as many as you do.
I think if you work it out, you've spent 2.5 years of your life at a camp with the AllBlacks.
Is that right? Wow.
Does it ever get tiresome?
There's certainly bits of it, that sometimes you get a little bit frustrated, or with things that come with or any job or anything you do that amount of time. But the great thing about being in the AllBlacks is you're with a bunch of guys all you call your mates, and you go through the ups and downs together. And I think I love that environment of being in a team that's trying to achieve something, and each week you get a chance to measure yourself, and I think that's the challenge that I really enjoy. And I guess just when you put that sort of time there, you'd think at times you would get sick of it, but I still love it as much as I did when I started, and I think that's a pretty good sign of what sort of environment we've got.
Who and what in your life keeps you grounded? Because it would be quite easy to be egotistical, but you're not. So what is it that keeps you grounded?
Well, I guess that comes from your upbringing too. I guess your friends and family that you treat you just the same as if when you were young, as if you weren't playing rugby for the AllBlacks as they do now, and I think that's important. But I also think the great thing in the AllBlacks is that the AllBlack team, whatever you call it, is bigger than any individual, and I think that's what keeps your feet on the ground. Is that no matter who you are, whether you've been around 5 minutes or 5 years or longer, you're still there to contribute to the AllBlack legacy, so to speak. And I think that's what keeps your feet on the ground. As soon as you start thinking about yourself, first of all, you're not going to perform properly, and then someone else will be knocking on the door or take your slot. And I think that's the great thing, that you look at all the AllBlacks we have, they're all pretty much like that.
Rich, you mentioned the word job before. Do you see it as a job, or do you see it as a passion, love? What is it?
Well, it's well, you say that. I did say that, but I'd be lying if you. No, I don't see it like that. I see it as a privilege to do what you do, and it's a passionate. You would probably do it anyway, but we're just lucky we get rewarded to do what we love, and I think that's something you keep reminding yourself that you're in a position that to be able to do that, you're pretty lucky. But there's a lot of hard work that goes with that, so to ensure you keep doing that. But at some point down the track, we'll get the reality of what that's like. But at the moment, making the most of it.
Days, months, years, are they going fast or slow for you?
Fast. Like it didn't seem. It just seems like yesterday we were here preparing to play Argentina here in BA. It goes fast, and I think when you get to sort of my stage of career and stuff, you realise that you've got to make the most of every time you get a chance to play, because they start running out, and you just want to enjoy it. But I think the enjoyment comes from performing as well, so you get that balance right. I just look about 2011. That we're 3 years on from that, but it's just gone in a flash.
At that promotional event earlier today, you spoke with some enthusiasm about your flying, passion you have for flying. What do you get out of that? Is it a case, because you are probably one of the most photographed blokes in New Zealand, what do you enjoy about? Is it the isolation of being up there? What do you enjoy about it?
I think there's a few things really. Like it is a passion, and when when you have something like that's totally different from what you do every other day, I think that's quite refreshing. The other one is, the other couple of things is, one is you're learning all the time. I think that's what stimulates me about it, is that I enjoy it, but I love the learning how to do it and how to do it better, and all those sort of things. And the other one is you mix with a different bunch of people to what you do on a day to day that treat you exactly the same as anyone else that comes along to fly, and you're sort of probably more of a novice than these guys that have been doing it for a long time, and I think that's quite refreshing in itself. They just treat you, I don't really like saying normal, but just as anyone else that comes along to fly, and I think that part of it is gives you, well, you walk away after doing that, feeling really refreshed, and I think that helps what you do in the rest of your life.
So you don't feel like an All Black captain when you're around players?
Not really, no, not at all, because especially around things like the gliding, which is sport, these guys are hugely experienced that you're flying alongside. I want to learn off them and stuff, and I think that the other ones that the sort of roles reversed, I guess, a little bit in a sense.
I remember Tana saying to me that he got to a stage in his career where the young guys on the team, he sort of struggled to identify with a lot of their lives. I don't want to make you sound old, mate.
Oh, you just have. So.
I'm older than you. But do you sort of look sometimes now at the young guys coming in and I understand music and the lingo and those sorts of things?
Oh, there's a little bit of that, I suppose. I just look at the Crusaders, for example. I'm the same age as Aaron Major, played with Todd Blackadder, so you're almost closer in age to some of those guys than the young fellas coming in. So that's certainly a change. But I guess as a player, you've got to make sure you do what you can to connect with them. And it'd be easy for me to say, oh well, I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing. But to try and relate to them is pretty key. And I hope they think I do. But it is different. And but I just look lucky in this team, for example. Those guys have been around a while that you don't feel isolated or anything like that, and we've got a pretty good environment, I think, that allows that we do get to know each other pretty well, and that, everyone does things a little bit different, especially the young fellas, but it's not too bad really.
So what do you do for a guy like Nathan Harris as an example, who's on debut? I mean, would you go out of your way to do anything different this week, or do you leave it to Kevin, who's obviously sort of more...
I leave it to guys like Kevy really, but all you want him to know is that you back him to, he gets on the field, we'll make it as easy as we can for him, and I think, it doesn't take much, but a couple of little words like that, just to ask how he's going and stuff, and you don't want to sort of always worry you go and take a guy aside, he thinks, geez, they're not actually trust me the fact he's had to say that, whereas you let him he's been around in the environment for long enough, I think, and a couple of words here and there, just how you going, and I think that's probably enough, to be honest.
You made your debut at Lansdowne Road, he's going to make it at Plata, both pretty fierce environments in their own right. Do you have anything that you can remember from your debut that you would impart onto him to try and handle what's going to be quite an interesting situation?
Well, I often say it to the young guys that play their first test beforehand, is that, although test match is a step up, the best thing is you're playing with guys that are all the best in their position, so all you got to worry about is yourself. Sometimes in other teams you might worry about some individual, whereas in this team you don't have to, and so in that sense you can relax with it because you just back yourself to go and do your role, but you'll be tested, which is why it's called a test. So that was something I remember getting told, and it goes so quick that you just want to enjoy it and remember it. And I think if you get the balance of just going and doing what you do as a rugby player right and enjoying the occasion, you'll have pretty good memories.
For a front row forward, is there any student test of World Rugby at the moment, then debuting against the Pumas?
Well, I don't think there is really. They provide a hell of a challenge, especially at scrum time. And for a guy like Nath, I suppose, going into that, if you want to test yourself against the best, that's probably it. But again, you don't want to try and think about doing it all on your own. It's everyone's got to do their bit. So, and hopefully by the time he gets on there, Kevy and Cal have softened him up a wee bit.
But you seem to be walking with a much lighter tread since the World Cup. How much of a relief to you was that win, and how much has it actually allowed you to relax a little bit on and off the field as an All Black since then?
It isn't that big elephant that's been there. I guess the first couple of years, after the World Cup, you have been able to park all that and not be constantly reminded about everything else, the World Cup, and forgetting about everything else. So that's been nice in that regard. I think next year as it gets closer, there'll be more and more talk, and I'd like to think the intensity and the preparation is exactly the same, if not better, because it'll have to be. But the other side of it is, I think, having a break last year, that was gold in terms of reminding yourself why you do it and getting the enjoyment out of it. So I think that you combine those two things. I'm glad that that's the way it seems, because as I said before, as your time starts to get less and less here, you want to make sure you enjoy it, and you enjoy it by not walking around with a big weight on your shoulders.
Looking back at your career, what's the one thing you would tell your children in the future to do differently?
That I'd do differently?
Yeah.
I think there was a period where I don't know whether I'd do it differently, but certainly looking back after the 2007 World Cup, it was a put a lot of pressure on yourself and on the team, because we'd tripped up there, and whether I really took the time to enjoy what you did every day, whereas you were focused on something down the track, and it was get further and further, closer and closer to that goal, without actually recognising sometimes what you're doing right now. And I think, if anything, you look back, you say, well, perhaps I should have enjoyed those. We had some good performances and games and stuff in those years where it was always on to the next thing. And I think since 2011, you had a bit more of a chance. You acknowledge what you do each week without losing the next week in mind or whatever. But perhaps in that period, I got a little bit lopsided on where your focus was. But I don't know. I don't have too many regrets. That's something I've always wanted to make sure you walk away from whatever you do with no regrets, and you give it a good crack, and you have ups and downs, but that's what life's all about, I suppose.
In 132 games, is there one that is your favourite? Is it the World Cup final, or is there another one?
Well, I guess for the World Cup final certainly is the one that had everything over those sort of last 3 weeks, really. So to have achieved that, it was pretty satisfying. I think there's one other game that I as a younger fellow, was the second Lions Test in Wellington. I really enjoyed that game. I was absolutely knackered at the end of that one, but the satisfaction after that was, it's always one that's rated well up there.
Do you have it on tape?
My folks might, I don't know. But I don't think I've ever watched the game either, bar but I've seen highlights of it. Yeah.
What does this week mean to you, and what do you think you've been doing so well to get to this stage of competition again with a chance to win the
Well, firstly, I think we got a wake up, I guess, in the first game against the Wallabies where we drew. That certainly kept our feet on the ground and made us look at all the little things that we needed to get right. And I guess that's hard in the resolve, because we knew that we'd given them a chance and whatever. But I think our performance has been reasonably good, considering conditions we've had to deal with and stuff. But to give ourselves a chance, we don't want to waste the opportunity tomorrow. So we've had a pretty good week's preparation, and hopefully we perform well tomorrow. Well, we need to perform well tomorrow.
With all your experience as AllBlacks captain, what advice would you give to me as captain?
I don't give away too much, do I? I think, I always say this, the number one role of a captain is to go and play well. If you go out and play at a high standard every time, it's a great way to begin leading your team.
Excellent. Thanks, everyone.
Cool. Nice. It is.